And the noise is back, a noise we haven't heard here for a while, and it's the sound of the word Dyche. Hello, everyone.
Sean Dyche is back.
We're back.
You know what? It's the perfect day for Sean Dyche to make his return to Premier League football because our group chat today may have been the spiciest I've ever seen it. Are we all friends again? Before we get into this, are we all friends again?
I mean, I'm not sure about Dino.
Let's see what it's like on for 45 minutes.
We'll talk about an hour.
I got nothing but love for my StatrCast boys. Nothing but love.
Except for your brother.
You couldn't be here tonight, unfortunately.
But like, we got a nice...
Welcome back.
Guess what? Football was back after the international break. As we said, stack at the back. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 or 7 clean sheets this weekend. Nice little smattering of. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can see 5 on the first day, and there wasn't any on the second day. But we might get another tonight because it is Monday night. We might get another one tonight because it's Monday Night Football. But there's some obvious talking points from this weekend's football. We have the Man United Liverpool game, the battle. Oh, what a game! Oh, what a game! You've got the absolute debacle that is Ange at Forest. That story is closed. Gary, you were wrong about him getting more time.
I was wrong. I will openly admit it. I was wrong. I didn't see it coming.
Gary, in the last 48 hours, you've said I was right twice, and it's starting to worry me.
It's gonna get worse. I have a stat. You're gonna love it, but keep going.
And then we're going to have a quick look at the weekend's games because there's a fascinating array of matches this game week coming, and there's obviously a bit of musical chairs in terms of players that you want to be picking, and some of our own stat rules look like they're about to be broken. So, Jimmy, you've got some interesting stats to lead us out before we let the two boys rampage on each other about the game.
I've got 2 saucy little stats, one at the front and one at the back, because this week our Team of the Week will be uploaded over on StatrDraft.com sometime the next couple of days, maybe when the football actually stops and we can see who's got the most points. But for now, 2 little baby stats for me this week. First of all, the highest scoring player in Statter so far this week. When I heard the news that this had happened again, I started having PTSD flashbacks to the last day of the season in 2023 because I was scrolling and all I saw was the 2 words Mateta hat trick. Our highest scoring player this week so far is Jean-Philippe Mateta with a hat trick for Palace in what apparently is the game of the season between them and Bournemouth. I didn't see it. But the reason this is giving me ire is because that's what happened on the last day, week 38 in 23, and cost me the lead. And Gary won it.
That one got really fascinating because I did say on the Saturday morning show that was the game to watch out for over the weekend. But also you had a little bit of needle with Wilfred Zaha and Mateta during the week. A little bit of an online spatter between Zaha and Mateta, which made Mateta basically shrugging the shoulders and going, fuck it, hat-trick. Even more beautiful.
Nice.
And that's out the front, like another great performance by probably the only Premier League striker I can think of who's French and actually does the business for his club as hard as he does for his country. Anyway, at the back, I can't believe we're going to go here again. John was right again, and he didn't even realise. Because about 2 weeks ago, before Chelsea went a whole game without getting a red card, we were joking about who'd get the next one. And John said Malo Gusto. Guess what happened this week? It's a Malo Gusto red card. The 4th in 8 weeks for Chelsea. They're a fucking shambles at the back. Nobody is disciplining that team. And aside from that, I think we're going to talk less numbers and a bit more football this week, man. What do you think?
It's going to cross over a bit across the board, like realistically, because when we get to the Ange and Forest situation, we're going to be looking at players and who we want to be picking. But like, I think we let the boys rip. Gary, Dino, United, Liverpool, one sad man, one very, very happy man. Who wants to lead us off here? Because Harry fucking Maguire, the most clutch player in the Premier League.
I think Dean has to go first.
I know that they were thinking of. Well, they look like they are going to offer Harry a new deal next season, but for a year anyway. But yeah, he's really obviously it's going to be a bit of a salary decrease, but he's not making it easy on them to negotiate that contract. But I had a few friends, laughing, saying like, Harry Maguire getting a salary or a new deal. But I was just listening to a podcast before I came on here, and Harry Maguire's last 6 goals for United have all been match winners. I listened
to the exact same one that you were talking about.
Yeah. They've all been match winners, and 5 out of 6 of them have been like beyond like the 80th minute of the game, with the only outlier being like the 47th minute or something like that.
That was the one against Leicester that made them win that game. So you had Porto away, you had Lyon away, you had this one at the weekend, you had Brentford and Ipswich last season. his last 6 goals.
Grimsby wasn't a win, obviously, but it wasn't like beyond the 80th minute. Like, so it just goes to show he is an important player. He's probably scored more headers than any of the strikers have in the past couple of years for us. Like,
Dean, let me ask you
a question. He's a valuable asset to have.
Let me ask you a question. I've actually a double-barrel question for you. First off, is Maguire the most clutch player in the Premier League? And secondly, how did you feel at the start of the game when you saw that team sheet come out?
So, again, Sesko wasn't starting, and I was like, what the hell is going on? But I was happy to see Mbeumo was starting with Cunha, but Cunha was starting up front and Mount was on the left. But I said to you as well last week, I said that Mount is a very important player. I think Forrest is really coming into his own now, but he's going to be competing with Cunha for that spot on the left. But after this week's win, maybe they might be able to kind of like juggle something around a bit. But what I did actually hear in Slot's pre-match interview, which I thought was interesting, he actually mentioned Sesko and Cunha starting up front, which is interesting because not many managers do mention the other team players. And he said that Sesko not starting, they're going to have to deal with that on the pitch because they were prepared for Van Dijk to basically be taking on Sesko in the air. And then after the game, Ruben Amorim said that he didn't start Sesko because he knew that Van Dijk and Konate are very confrontational in the air and would probably be able to deal with him. So they wanted to basically have a kind of like not a backup plan, but basically an alternative plan, to kind of hopefully do exactly what they did and kind of fuck with Slot's tactics a bit. And you know what, we give Amorim a lot of shit every week, but credit to where it's due. His plan worked exactly as it did. Like Van Dijk didn't have a fantastic game. Konate was big in the air for those long kickouts that Lemons was given, and I'll talk about Lemons in a second. But then you had Cunha and Mbeumo, Mount, Bruno getting that second touch on the ball. So I think that Amorim was actually happy enough to hit those big balls up front, let Van Dijk win them, and then let the midfield and the forwards then deal with second touches. And they looked pretty comfortable the whole game. They looked like they dominated the whole game. Lemens, I know we talked about it last week. I told you don't be getting too excited, John. And it's still only 2 games. I'm not going to get too excited. But he does have such commanding presence in that net. He just seems to give a bit more confidence to the entire team because the defenders know that if there is a break through the defense and they do end up getting a shot, they're confident the keeper will be able to do his job. There was one shot that Salah had around like the 75th minute or so where he was pretty much clear on goal. Lamens came out, made himself massive, and Salah hit it 5 or 6 yards wide. And if that's Binder or Onana, I know they're not coming off the line like Lamens did, and he's gonna like hit that into the back of the net. But yeah, Lamens just such an imposing presence in that goal, and really, really happy with what I saw with him this week, and yeah, excited to see his future now at United.
And it's funny though because you've been ridiculing me for a month about this goalkeeper situation, and exactly what I've been saying came to pass. A bit of composure in the goals spreads out to the rest of the team. Having a goalkeeper, like he caught a cross there at one point behind his head. Onana or Bayindir are putting that into the back of their net. There was the Gapco shot that that went off the post. Onana or Bayindir's turning that into the inside of the net. Just that little bit of extra composure means that the wing backs don't need to tuck in as much to deal with the crosses, and it also means that the defenders can go, oh, right, we have a guy who can save more than 1 in every 2 shots that he fucking faces. Yeah. And it makes a big difference. But Gary, I've seen you down in the corner there shaking your head quite a bit. Let rip, buddy. Let rip.
No, well, the first thing is you've asked Dean whether or not Harry Maguire is the most clutch player in the Premier League. No.
Who is?
I don't know what you're smoking.
Who is?
It's not Harry Maguire.
Who is it then?
I could name 4 or 5 players who'd be more clutch than him. Up until this season, it would have been Mo Salah. But fair enough, not this season. That's fine. Voltamade at Newcastle, Declan Rice at Arsenal, Caicedo at Chelsea, João Pedro possibly at Chelsea. I can keep going. Mateta at Palace. I can keep going.
I think he's a bit excited, Gary. I think he's a bit excited.
So I think you're probably jumping on the bandwagon a little bit there with Harry Maguire being the most. Either that, or you're just looking to poke the fucking bear.
That one.
I mean, Maguire is statistically the best forward at Man United.
But that's because when they're chasing the game, when United are chasing the game, they'll lump him up forward, up front as a second striker or a third striker because he can win in the air. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. Liverpool did the exact same yesterday with Van Dijk. So there's nothing wrong with doing that. But to say he's the most clutch, no. Fair. Just the other thing I say is, Dean, you mentioned that United dominated the game yesterday. They didn't. They didn't dominate. Now, I will caveat this by saying United were the better team yesterday. I will. I'm not disputing that. Absolutely not disputing that. They deserved to win. The reason they won is because Amarin outclassed Slot on the tactics side of things. You touched on it there yourself, the whole Sesko Cunha piece. How Slot didn't know Cunha was going to play, considering the damage that he did last season when he was at Wolves against Liverpool, I have no clue. But they didn't dominate the game. Liverpool had 65-66% of the possession. Yeah. They had more shots on target, nearly double the passes. On another day, that game could have finished any score. Gakpo should have had
6-7 at points.
It could have been 7-0. It could have been 7-0. It could have been 4-0 to United. It could have been 7-1 to Liverpool. It could have been anything. Right?
But you touched on the tactics there, and I found that very fascinating. So in the first half, United's tactics, I watched them and I just went, holy fuck, this looks smooth. They essentially, Jimmy, you probably, this is where I get my tactics going. So they played essentially defensively, they played a 5-3-2, and Mount doubled up as a third midfielder alongside Cunha, or alongside Bruno and Casemiro. And then in attack, he stepped out to the left-hand side. Cunha went as like a false 9, dropping 5-10 yards short. And they're going, which one of y'all want to follow me? So they could get the ball on the deck and start playing it. So in attack, it was a 3-4-3. And in defense, it was a 5-3-2. Just to give that extra security. And then on the Liverpool side, it was brilliant.
It was, to be fair, and we have given Amarin a lot of crap on this podcast before, but yesterday he got it spot on. The genius for me in his tactics yesterday was in defense. Right? We all, when we spoke last week, we expected Euro to play. Yes. Euro didn't play. Maguire came in. That nullifies any sort of aerial threat that Isak brings. Right? That's number one. Luke Shaw playing as one of the 3 centre backs. Whatever you say about him, he's quick. He managed to get back and cover Gakpo when he was nearly through on goal the way he did midway through the second half. He still has a yard of pace there, and he had Salah in his pocket pretty much all day, right?
I think Salah had him.
And Delict, to be fair, had a great game as well. But bringing Maguire back in to play centre half was genius because he covered all of the angles as regards of aerial threat, regarding any sort of threat that Salah might have brought to the party with Shaw there as well. The only thing that was bad from a defensive perspective was Dalot wasn't great, and that's why Gakpo had so many.
I think Dalot's
he wasn't great at all. But this is why Gakpo could and probably should have had a hat trick. Well, he should have had a hat trick. He could have had
the header. Like I found, like as good as you like. For me,
the header was a terrible miss.
The header was a shocking miss, and if Isak is on the end of that, that's in the net.
Not Isak. That was there yesterday.
No, I think anyone who's anyway competent with their ball coming to their head.
Sure. But what I was thinking was Mason Mount for me was the most key component there, in the way that the second that ball was lost, he dropped in and made a third man midfield, and it became a 5-3-2. And the second they got the ball, it was like, I'm going out left, and then letting like Ahmad and Mbeumo on the far side. And as fluid as United tactic, it almost reminded me at times of like a Diego Simeone kind of vibe of this flowing structure system. And as fluid as United's tactics seemed to be for the first time ever yesterday, Slot's tactics for Liverpool were very helter-skelter. I think Roy Keane and Cara said it after the game, that throw the kitchen sink with 10 minutes to go. No, 35 minutes to go. Like with 35 minutes to go, they were playing a 3-3-4. And for the last 10 minutes, it was a 3-2-5 with Curtis Jones and Birds as the two. It's fucking madness.
Yeah, the tactics from Slot yesterday, particularly in the second half, I get you're chasing a game and you're probably feeling a bit of pressure because you've lost 3 games on the bounce, this now being the 4th. I get you're feeling a bit of pressure, but to have like 4 attacking players up front, essentially, before you even count Verts, and Jones and Szoboszlai was utter chaos. It was absolute chaos. Now, it was great to watch. Nearly gave me a heart attack, but it was great to watch. But Slot, I think Slot's under pressure a little bit. I think I do think he's under a little bit of pressure.
Are we going to mention the thing that nearly made us all fall out earlier on, are we?
Before we go there, can I ask a quick question around this reconfigured United attack yesterday? Because when I went to my happy place, I went to the numbers, and what I don't understand is why I'm seeing Sesko on a score of 22.5, which will probably put him into the team of the week, if not very close to it. And I'm seeing Cunha on one of his lowest statistical involvement with the ball performances this year.
Oh man, Cunha's on the ball yesterday. There's some clips to see online that like he was like a terrier. Like there's no one could get the ball off him. He was quality. Now he might not be getting many assists or shots or anything like that, but like he's on the ball. He's really quality.
There was one point
he's worth every cent.
Yeah, I know. Yesterday, to be fair, he justified it. I mean, there was one point where there was 4 Liverpool players chasing him, and he just made them look like a complete Norwegians.
Like Jimi, this is
he managed to turn it. He thought he'd lost it, and then he managed to turn away from it and just knocked an easy 3-yard pass into Ugarte, and the play just went, and he took 4 players out.
But Jimi, this is one of these ones we have
simple
to
stuff
look
like
at the numbers game.
Yeah, I know the numbers don't always tell the whole story. I found it curious that there was such a disparity between the two of them, because I've heard an awful lot of talk right now about Cunha has had an absolutely brilliant game, and I'm still not an expert in what that looks like.
So essentially, the way Cunha played yesterday was his game was to draw attraction, if that makes sense.
Right.
So normally, what you would do if you're playing a long ball from a keeper to a forward, you pin the defender back up against him and put pressure on him. Cunha was dropping more into a 10 role and allowing Mbeumo to run beyond him, and essentially going to Konate and Van Dijk going, which one of y'all want to follow me?
Right.
And when they did follow him, it was a pass left or right to Ahmad, who would then set Mbeumo through. So it was essentially creating like this rotating triangle. If I drop here, Van Dijk's going to follow. If I knock the ball out to Ahmad, he's going to set Mbeumo through, which is why you'll see Mbeumo. So he played a very selfless game in order to maximize the output of Mbeumo and Ahmad. And if you watch the two of them and their numbers, I'm sure that's reflected in their numbers.
It's the reason for the first goal, to be fair. It was, Konate and Virgil. Whatever about the head injury, let's not get into that, because when we had this conversation over the weekend, if, flip the tables, I wouldn't be happy had it been stopped. But if we're talking about consistency, the game should have been stopped. Either way, regardless.
Jimi, do the voice.
Right.
To fucking get us. You remember it on the end, his head was bleeding. I mean, it weren't bleeding, but it could have been. They should have stopped that game and given it to Liverpool.
But you know what? I'm just after watching a replay of the goal right there, and from McAllister going down and the ball going into the back of the net, 8 seconds had passed. Now, we see it all the time with players going down, feigning injury, this, that, or the other. So referees, I think, always do give a cushion to allow the game to play on and see if the player gets up. And if he doesn't get up, then he stops it. And that cushion is usually beyond the 8-second mark.
It was
the
fellow that went down was in the middle of that sandwich was the guy who scored the goal. So he actually got his ass up and ran beyond both of them.
Look, as I said, had it been the other way around, and the game had been stopped, I would have been annoyed by it. I think the excuse that was given was that he didn't see it, which is complete horseshit.
That's
because he was 3 yards away and happened in front of him. The reason the goal was scored was Konate and Virgil hadn't a clue what the fuck was going on.
Yeah,
I think look at the two of them.
If you look at the two of them as Mbeumo makes his run, the two of them are, Van Dijk doesn't look to get back because he thinks Konate is covering him. Konate's not covering him. So Mbeumo was in between the two of them and gets through. A lovely weighted ball in from Diallo. As you said, John, that was what was going on pretty much all day yesterday.
And Dijk lost at sea at times with that movement.
Yeah,
and in that
moment,
he was cruising back, looked over his shoulder, went, Konate, here, you come across and get him. But sure, by the time he went, come across and get him, the ball was already fucking there. Rather than run for 2 seconds, run that 10 yards, and he would have dealt with it himself.
That was very not feigning responsibility, essentially passing the buck. That's what that was, and that's the reason why United go 1-0 up. Forget about the head injury. That's the reason why they go 1-0 up, because McAllister's not affecting that play. No. He's absolutely not. And I think, like, the problem that Liverpool have so they have two problems right now. Number one is Slot is showing that he's not as tactically astute as everyone thinks he is. Last season he won the Premier League. That's absolutely fine. But let's be straight about this. He won it with Klopp's squad. He did.
And
the only
Salah
change he made,
and Salah in the form of his fucking
and Salah in the
life.
form of his life. The only tactical change he made last year was Gravenberch into a number 6. Shock horror. He played a midfielder in midfield. Right. Exactly. That's the only change he made. Now he's been asked to integrate 400 million worth of talent into 11. He can't do it. He hasn't done it, rather. So the questions now come: can he actually do it? Is he the man to do this? I don't know. I don't know.
It's early doors.
That's the first thing. But the second problem Liverpool now have, and it's something to watch out for from a fantasy perspective, is confidence. Regardless of what they're saying, and Virgil coming out and saying, "Yeah, we're still think we're happy with how we're playing," and Slot saying, there's a crisis of confidence there. And if you've got Kerkez in your team, you need to look at him. If you've got Salah in your team, you need to consider dropping him.
I'm getting rid of him this week.
There's a couple of players there that you need to consider not keeping in your team. Salah being number one. Salah needs to be dropped. Salah is not. Yeah, he's not doing the business. Next door, he's not.
Like if you're playing next door and you've got a pricing system, for the price of Salah, you can have 3 good midfielders. And Salah right now is not a good fantasy asset.
No, he's not.
Any system, unfortunately.
And you could see it yesterday. Last season, everything went through him. Everything went through Salah. He was the main man. This season, he's not. Because he's not.
Is it the new contract? Is it age? Is it the change in dynamics?
No, I think
he's not the main man anymore.
I think he's not the main man because there was a scenario yesterday where Isak and Salah were 2-on-2 coming in, attacking into the top end. It was early in the second half. And Isak wouldn't play Salah in. He took a shot from about 20 yards, even though it was easy to play a 5-yard pass. And Salah was into the box. You can probably remember the situation.
I know the exact one you're talking about, and he smashed
and I'm looking at that going,
there's
something not right there. There's something not right there because if they're all on the same page, that pass gets played in. I don't know whether that's Salah throwing his toys out of the pram in the dressing room and during training and playing Billy Big Bollocks because he's won everything and so on and so forth. I don't know whether it's a trust thing with the rest of the players in Salah because he hasn't been on form. But there's something not right there. And I think Salah needs to be dropped. And I think what Slot needs to do, he needs to go back to a 4-4-2 with Ekitike and Isak playing up front. And then a midfield of Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gravenberch, and Wirtz.
I would disagree with the makeup of the midfield 4. I understand where you're going with it. For me, it would be Frimpong on the right midfield.
No, Frimpong will go in at right back. So Frimpong will go in at right back.
I get
Robertson
the point you're
at left
making.
back and let the two of them bomb on.
Bradley?
That's where I'll be playing.
Do you know what I found fascinating? I was looking at something last night, and it was like there's only one player in that Liverpool dressing room who's actually lost 4 games on the bounce in their career. Can you tell me who it was?
I'm going to hazard a guess at it.
Kerkez?
No, it was Van Dijk when he was at Southampton.
Yeah.
That was the only one.
4 times.
But that was the only one. Because even Kerkez at Bournemouth, they never lost 4 in a row. Now, they did lose games. Like, don't get me wrong. They'd lose 3 and draw fucking 1, or they'd lose 2 and draw 2. Like, I'm not saying. But it was just the fascinating thing of, like, listening to Gap go after the game going, I've never been in a team to lose 4 on the bounce. Yeah. So you can see it's a confidence issue.
Yeah. But this is the confidence issue, number 1. But number 2, this is where Slot's going to actually either earn his stripes or he's going to be found out. The last time Liverpool had such a bad run of results, Brendan Rodgers. Now, Brendan Rodgers went very, very close to winning the league. He was a Gerrard slip away from winning the league. And the next season, when he lost 4 games or 5 games on the bounce, he was told best of luck. And they brought in Roy Hodgson, if I remember correctly, as his replacement initially, I think it was.
I don't know. I think, look, I know that that's same caliber, but look, Liverpool or City went through this phase last season. You know, I think that they just need to kind of like fight through it, and they'll be back to their best.
They'll be fine.
I still fancy them for top 4.
Now, Dean, question for you though. So we've obviously said about Liverpool assets, and it's probably time to have a look at shedding them until you see the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, if you're looking over at United assets, Dean, is it time to start looking at some of them? Is it time to start looking at an Mbeumo that's 2-2? Is it time to start looking at Seny Lamans as a potential keeper? Is it time to start looking at some of the United assets, or is that very premature?
Well,
they do have Brighton next week.
Yeah, I mean, our next couple of games, again, as United, we could lose against freaking Wolves, who are bottom of the league. We don't know how it's going to go. A lot of people are saying that this will be the catalyst to kind of kick
it needs to be
Emirates and United forward, but we could fucking go and lose 2-0 next week. But if you were going to Brighton next week, the week after that we have Nottingham Forest, and the week after that Spurs, and then Everton. I would maybe be thinking about a Bruno after today's performance, or yesterday's performance, maybe bring in Cunha, Mason Mount to start a lot of games, and then Bruno as well is just always a good player to have in the back pocket.
I would start off. Say the unsayable. Those 4 teams you just named are not scoring high, with the exception of Spurs. They're not high-scoring teams this season, much as I hate to say that about my beloved Brighton, Seagulls for life. I'm going to say it. You want a United defensive asset. Can anyone name a United defender?
Luke Shaw. Is who you bring in?
DeLitt.
I think it's Luke Shaw. I genuinely think it's Luke Shaw.
I'm going to have to go with John here. On the numbers, it's Delict, whatever it is. Shaw is such a differential, though. He's such a punt. He is the guy who nobody in your league has picked. You know what I mean?
Because the thing is, he played so well there, but next week he could break down again, and you're going to be like, not this again.
Yeah. I would say
anybody on the United defense could be like that.
Delitt's the only constant. Delitt and Ahmad are the 2 constants in that. If it was me, the one I'm looking at, and the only one I'm looking at is Mbeumo.
Yeah, I think in terms of output,
Mason Mount is acting as a shot. Mason Mount is acting as a shuttler. Cunha is waiting for that first goal. I think when he does pop off, it'll be good. Bruno sitting in that deeper role. I don't think he's having enough influence in terms of the fun. I know yesterday being the exception, he might be more involved in the overall game, but in terms of the GA stats that you want from him, he's not going to get them back there, and the defense is too rotatable. So I would be saying Delitt and Mbeumo are the 2 ones. If you're going to look at any United assets, those are the 2.
Yeah, but do you know what, John? Bruno as well, with our own point system. Bruno, if he does settle into his position, he could end up kind of taking over a kind of a N'Golo Kante role. In that sense, he's then getting lots of interceptions and stuff like that, which you do get points for, StatrCast in our point system. So maybe next door, Bruno might be a very good asset, but on our own system, maybe he would actually be one to consider bringing in.
Hasn't been so far, but maybe that will turn.
But again, like I was saying, that's if he does manage to settle in. But in the immediate future, as in next week, I think Mbeumo was the person that you're looking at bringing in.
Right. I think that's enough talk about that particular game. I want to go from the maddest match of the weekend to the maddest bastard of the weekend.
What happened? John? Tell us the story, because I know the man has lost his job, but I didn't realize it was all this madness.
Marinakis might be the coldest man in world football. How to explain this? Obviously, right, him and Nuno had a little bit of a falling out, as is well documented. He hired his half-Greek mate, Ange Postecoglou, and as we said at the start, that squad was not built for Ange ball. It's built for a Nuno-type manager. They have learned that lesson the hard way. They've learned that lesson the hard way very, very fast. When they went the second goal down on the 66th minute, Marinakis not just left his seat. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen a photo of Marinakis sitting in the box. Oh my God, it looks like an eagle waiting to play with his food. It is terrifying. He's just this big, angry, Greek, greasy bastard sitting there, staring at the pitch with nothing but utter contempt. We've said this before. He's a mental case. I prefer the story of what was the rumor of what happened to the actual what happened. But he basically left his seat in the 66th minute, stormed out of the stadium, and that was when the writing was on the wall. And you were gone. You were done. Now, the rumoured story, the beauty of the rumoured story, and knowing the two personalities, you could see it. That Marinakis went down to the Nottingham Forest dressing room, waited for Ange, sacked him on the spot, and the two boys ended up in a fist fight. That's why neither of them came out to talk to the press. Now, would you put that past either of them?
No, I believe it.
It probably didn't happen, but it's totally believable.
It's totally. It's not what
fully
happened.
believable. Man. It really is.
It's fully believable.
That's Chinese whispers.
They won the Europa League trophy. Give me 2 fucking years.
I would not fight.
I also, it's also very telling in their statement. Nottingham Forest had confirmed that after a series of disappointing results and performances, Ange Postecoglou has been relieved of his duties as head coach with immediate effect. No, thank you for your service. No, anything like that. It was just he's fired.
I love it. I love Ange. Did you see his press conference on the Friday? Did we any of us see the press conference on the Friday?
He went on about how the story always starts the same but ends the same. Him with the trophy.
But he
was right. He was right. He was right. Even what he said, he was like, Daniel Levy hired him to win a trophy, and he said, I will win a trophy in the second year. And he was like, I did that and still got fired. So maybe it's just a case of my face doesn't fit because I did exactly what I was asked to do.
Or maybe it's a case that he should be talking about what's going to happen in 2 years' time and start talking about what he wants to do now. He needs to start singing a different tune if people are going to hire him. Okay.
But if you look at that interview, all the points he makes are very good. He was like, he started the first 6 Spurs flying, and everybody said, forget about it, that's new manager bounce. So he's like, well, if my first 10 games then are utter crap, then which is it? It didn't matter there, so it shouldn't matter here, but it doesn't matter there, but it does matter here. Which one is it? Because both statements can't be true. It's like either I'm a failed manager that keeps winning trophies, or I'm a good manager who keeps picking shit jobs. Like both statements can't be true. And the more I listen to him talk, I'm like, okay, people might not like the fact that you're so bluntly honest, but what he's saying is correct. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's how he speaks, maybe it's his personality, but he's right. He is right. But the actual story is Marinakis left the stadium and sent his lackey boy down to sack him before he even did his press conference. So he was fired within 11 minutes of the final whistle. Somebody went down to the dressing room, relieved him of his duties. He got 2 minutes then to tell the boys good luck. 7 million of a payoff for 6 weeks' work. And I fucking salute you, bud.
Within the 11 minutes, Ange was in his car and gone.
Yep.
Did any players come out and do a post-match interview or anything?
No, he didn't even get the time. He was that quick.
Come out or anything?
No, they didn't. Nottingham Forest are taking their fine. They're taking their penalty hit essentially for it was that bad. And then
the players stuck around in the dressing room for over an hour apparently between themselves to have an in-house chat amongst themselves. But at no stage did anybody come out, be it owner, management, players, staff, nothing came out from Forest.
But this is what, do you know what? I will say this bluntly. Nottingham Forest Americanist, you can go kindly sit on one and go fuck yourselves. The way they've carried on over the last 12 months with the stuff with Crystal Palace and the Europa League, lads, lick your wounds. Just let the sporting side be the sporting side. You went down a really shady rabbit hole, buying and selling players with the club in France to make sure that you got what you wanted. You sacked your most successful manager since Brian Clough. You built a squad custom made for him. You've the most successful you've ever been. And then you've gone and taken the Premier League to court. You've taken the referees down a rabbit hole. You have gone and sued UEFA and FIFA so that you could get your way over a piece of paperwork. Crystal Palace, I salute you and how they've handled things. Nottingham Forest have handled the last 12 months with nothing but the lowest level of class possible. And the biggest comeuppance for them right now would be them to get relegated. And it would be the biggest. Everybody was on their side last year. Every time you saw Nottingham Forest do another rollover, you're like, Jesus Christ, what an honest, strong, hard-working team. And then that turned at the end of April to now. And now I'd say every football fan would be like, look, if you're going to carry on like that, see in the championship, you bunch of prats. I hate that carry on. And as the boys in the dress in Sky and BT have said, when it comes to Americanist, any manager that takes that job, you know what you're signing up for. If you deal with the devil, you're going to get burnt. So in the hour or two after it, Mancini was flagged as being a potential successor. Marco Silva, who had worked for Americanist at Olympiacos. Thank Christ that moved away quickly. But what we've ended up with, yeah, like I'd be very sad if Marco Silva left to go to fucking Nottingham Forest, and this is part of our arguing today on the group.
I can't believe this man
That
has
got
been
spicy
hired
at the weekend.
in October. Like this, okay, again, football blinders here. I don't know anything except numbers, but I know this noise. And there's this noise that people start making when one of the teams is doing really badly around Easter, and they start shouting, Dyche, Dyche, and he comes and saves them. Like something called Big Sam used to. What the fuck is any team wanting to stay in the top half doing, hiring Dyche in October?
The smartest thing they could do with the profile of squad they have.
This season is not about top half for Forest. This season is about survival.
Has it gone that far? Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're seriously talking about relegation for Forest before Halloween.
Yes.
Yeah. No. What I'm saying is that if you don't turn it around now, you're potentially talking about relegation.
Because it's not even just the losses; it's the manner.
So
it's not even been the losses; it's been the manner of the losses. Like against Chelsea, they didn't like that was a weak Chelsea team that went out. They didn't start with Enzo or Casido. Yeah. They had Lavia and Reece James as the midfield too.
But the numbers.
There was a red card, and they still didn't lay a glove on him.
And they lost 3-0 to a 10-man team. I get it. But Forest's problem to me does not look to be at the back as such. They've only scored 5 goals. Dyche teams don't score.
Incorrect. Dyche took Burnley.
Did they not just plug the back and park the bus? Is that not the whole thing?
Protect the Dyche got Burnley to Europe. Like that is criminally underappreciated and underanalyzed. That Sean Dyche took Burnley from the Championship to the Premier League to Europe before they started to slide. Before Burnley,
we also got Everton nearly got Everton relegated.
Okay, Pep Guardiola would have done the same with those constraints and a points deduction, and I think everything that went on with Everton. It's still an admirable job.
The year before the points deduction, I think, is when they nearly were relegated. Dyche is not. Dyche is not, the best manager. I don't know if he's the best manager for the job. The thing with Forest is Forest need to get a manager in to deal with the situation that they're in. Ange was not that manager.
He was the wrong man.
Dyche is the right man for this job at this particular time. Is he the man to get you?
That's the point I'm making. It's not that he's a bad manager. He's very good at what he does, which is Nottingham Forest were a functional team. Nottingham Forest were a functional team. Nuno's football was misery at times to watch. Mm-hmm. It's like that's why the defenders picked up so many points, and Chris Wood with aerials and Chris Wood with his goals came from essentially pack, and then Alanga run like the clappers, Callum Hudson-Odoi run like the clappers and hit the big bastard in the middle. Mm-hmm. And essentially it was built on everybody bar these 3 guys. Your job is defend like dogs. If we get the ball, Alanga, run as fast as you can. If Callum Hudson-Odoi, run as fast as you can. Once Elliot Anderson touches that football, you two run.
You're gone. Yeah.
And that's how they.
Am I right in saying that a Dyche Forest, if that's where we're going, it means it's time for the big boys again, the big lads at the back?
Essentially, look at the guys that were doing well under Nuno. If you're looking at Forest assets, you're looking at Milenkovic again. You're looking at Murillo again. You're looking at Anderson is Anderson. I think he's a cut above that squad anyway. Morgan Gibbs, it hasn't been the same man since Martinez blackmailed him into signing a new contract.
I'm going to throw a curveball at you, though, that's for a player for Forest, and it's based off Dyche's history, particularly with Everton, and it's Iwani up front.
Yes.
I think that's something that there's something to be said about potentially looking at him as maybe a squad player for the start and just to see how many games he actually plays over the first 3 games. But Dyche loves his big man up front. And Iwani is actually really, really good at holding the ball up. Aerial, he's very, very good in the air. He's not unlike Lukaku. I think that's probably a fair comparison. Maybe not the same quality as Lukaku, but the same build and the same style of play.
Quick over a short distance.
Yeah, Dyche loves that sort of player. He really
Michael Antonio sort of runs, yeah?
Well, Antonio, Beto, these profile of big kind of powerful over a short distance type forwards. That makes that holds water.
I'm going to say drop Nico Williams then.
Probably.
Because right now he's their second highest for the year over in our game. He's on 101 points, which is not to be sniffed at. But it sounds like he's the kind of player that Dyche is going to just throw away.
Well, it's hard. It's hard to know because Dyche did like Seamus Coleman at right back, and Nico Williams is a similar mold of player that he can get up and down. He has the engine to do that. I wouldn't kick him out just yet. I don't think I'd be kicking him out just yet. Chris Wood, I'd be very, very skeptical of. And
I think last season was the season. Anybody who's still holding their hat there.
Yeah. And it's a toss-up between Iwanyi and Igor Jesus up front.
But even then, there's certain players who suit certain managers. It's like when you see Nuno, I fully expected Amateur to be a West Ham player come January, like because he's just custom built for him, and that's where he plays his best football is when he plays under Nuno. Like it's like everywhere that Mourinho went, he bought Matic. It's like everywhere that Harry Redknapp went, give me a bit of Peter Crouch, Nico Croucher, Jermaine Defoe. Certain managers and certain players, they just work. And I think Chris Wood was that kind of guy for Nuno, essentially. I can blow a bit of smoke up you. We probably vibe on a personal level. We have that connection, and you're going to run through a brick wall for me because it's me. You know what I mean? And you see this even at amateur level. You see this at professional level. If there's a connection between the coach and the player, they do the business. Yeah. We move on.
No, you're right. You're absolutely you're right. I mean, Dyche did it at Everton with Tarkowski and McNeil. I think McNeil to Forest in January is a.
Well, what's McNeil done since? McNeil has done nothing since.
He's not because Grealish is there. So again, if you're looking a couple of months out and you're kind of keeping an eye on players that you want to maybe potentially look at after Christmas, that you hope nobody else notices, and you're thinking of kind of forward planning that much, McNeil is probably one to look at because they'd say he'll be in a Forest jersey by the end of the season.
It makes sense. I think that would make sense. Right. I think that's enough on the crazy game and the crazy people. So let's look at a crazy weekend of football. Because week 9 is kind of when it'll be the November internationals when this table finally starts to settle and we know where everybody's at. Right now, it's still very loosey-goosey. There's a very little between 1st and 14th even. Like, this can all change very quickly. But, like, we want to have a look at some of the kind of main matchups this weekend, right? So if we start with the early kickoff, or not the early kickoff, the Friday night kickoff, which is Leeds West Ham.
Yeah, probably not the most. Do you know what? There actually isn't that many exciting games this week, but there is.
Look at Sunday, mate. Look at the 3. Look at the 3 at 2:00 on Sunday. Arsenal Palace, Villa City, and Bournemouth are going to hurt the shit out of Forest. But Villa are back with a point to prove, and City are not exactly stellar. Arsenal and Palace are arguably 2 of the 3 most on-form teams in the league right now.
Is they back to Palace?
It's a quiet Saturday, except for United Brighton, and I will find a way to be in the same place as you for at least some of that match, if it kills me. Although I lack confidence.
Like, let's just I'll flow through them. Like, we have Leeds West Ham. Like, it's Nuno's West Ham. I think you'll base what you start looking at from West Ham based on what we see tonight from the Brentford game, because it's too early in Nuno's reign to really know. Leeds are in trouble. They have no firepower. Chelsea Sunderland, that's a Chelsea win. Let's just move on from that. It's just going to be a case of which of the many wingers it is that Chelsea play. Alejandro Garnacho has managed to play his way out of the team, falling out with everybody again this weekend. Got hooked at half-time after Pedro Neto went for him on the pitch. Fuck that guy.
What's wrong with that young fella?
He's a moody little bitch whose brother manages his social media account.
He thinks he's Maradona.
He's all the ability in the world. All the ability in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Attitude is terrible. He has the ability to play for Madrid or Getafe, and there's no middle ground in there.
Shocking. And then Newcastle are obviously going to beat Fulham, because everybody does.
Well, Wolfmade, do you reckon Wolfmade is a player we're bringing in?
Wolfmada is...
Yes.
Yeah,
I brought him in 2 weeks ago. I do not regret my purchase.
I'm pretty much dumping Salah for the sole purpose of finding the funds to put him into my front line, because my front line across the street is going to be Pedro Haaland and Waterman coming next week. We're drafting every couple of weeks, putting different tester leagues in and out. So we're not even, but we're getting a nice baseline of where we're going. We'll give a little update when we're at just bookend of this show. But yeah, Waterman, the big sexy German, probably the most impactful centre forward signing of the summer. I think we've all said in that chat earlier on.
I think so.
Yep. Absolutely brilliant. He's only going to go from strength to strength. And he's going to hammer Fulham.
But like Dermot did make the point earlier on that their only wins this season have been at home to Wolves and Forest.
They're also at home against Fulham, so it's more.
Yeah.
Sure, but him as an asset as opposed to Newcastle, because I think there's a great space for us to talk about Newcastle at some point in a very nearby future episode. But I think as an asset,
I will do a
fixture-proof one, and that's what he is. Doesn't matter who they're playing, he's good.
11 o'clock on Saturday, I go live on TikTok, and I do have a nice segment to talk about about Otamendi in particular, and that Newcastle midfield, how the balance seems to have kind of gone from there. But we won't get into it tonight because there's probably about 20 minutes, half an hour on that alone. United, Brighton, we obviously have talked about United ad nauseum in here, but the return of the Wele back to Old Trafford always seems to, he always tends to see score against United.
I'm not confident, despite Brighton's glorious win over Newcastle at the weekend. And Wele, even though this is now the battle of the week, it's Wele against Haradana. For those of you who, like everyone else, been seeing AI images fly into your WhatsApp all morning, it's Haradana at the back for United and Wele at the front for Brighton, and that's just making my whole fucking week.
Can you please mock that up as the thumbnail for this episode?
I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best to get Haradana and Wele up there. No, Welbeck is having games where he's brilliant for 10 minutes, and then he's having months where he does nothing for 3 weeks, and I'm still very, very worried that his legs aren't what they were and his precision isn't what it was. But right now, the going's good, so keep going.
I don't know what you pick at Brighton at the moment. I don't think you pick any assets from Brighton at the moment.
Mitoma, Van Hecke, and De Kuiper, and that's it.
Was injured, so it's probably De Kuiper, Hecke, and even then, results are too scraggly.
Interestingly, actually, Brighton have scored 12 goals and conceded 11, and United have scored 11 goals and conceded 12. So,
it'll be a good game. It'll be a really good game.
Well, United Brighton games the last few years have been very, very interesting. You had the penalty after the final whistle. You've had some incidences over the last few weeks. I think it's going to be a potentially very, very interesting game. That's going to be the game of Saturday, because the late kickoff on Saturday is Liverpool racking up to give Caoimhin Kelleher a rather easy day in goals, I suppose, if they continue the way they're going. Sorry, Gary, I'm just throwing digs at you now.
Well, I fully expect Liverpool to lose against Brentford.
You do, yeah. The set piece factor.
Yeah.
Brentford,
I think they'll either lose or it'll be a score. It'll be a high scoring draw. But to your point, John, it's the aerial balls into the box that will that'll kill them, unless something changes tactically. But anyway, we won't. But that's
So, Jimmy, who do you pick? Is there a player to pick out of Brentford? Is there like a key asset here to pick out of Brentford?
In a word, no. It would have been Collins.
This is the thing probably about Brentford this year. It's a mix and match. It's probably Thiago.
Technically, it's Kelleher and Ouattara are the two with the most points, but there's so little. Like the top 10 Brentford players, top 8 are all between 50 and 40. Nobody's crossed 8 points per game. Per game, Ouattara is the best. At home to Liverpool isn't the time to test it forward. If you're stuck with a Brentford player, make it Kelleher. But there's better options. In every position, there's better options in Brentford right now.
For a wildcard, Kevin Chaddy.
Yeah, he's going to come good, but
he might
again, patchy.
Liverpool this week.
He's very streaky, though.
Very streaky, and Liverpool is probably not the game to test out that theory in any fantasy platform.
Yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame, really, because my favorite nailed-on Brentford asset seems to be out again, which is Pinnock. It's a shame. If you see him coming onto a pitch, get on it. But not much to take there.
So if we look at the Sunday games, Wolves Burnley. Who cares, right? Is there any assets from either team? Probably Jayden Anthony for Burnley.
Kachukwu for Burnley, possibly.
Who for Burnley?
Kachukwu. Scored at the weekend, looks half decent. I don't know what the numbers are like on him, Jimmy, but certainly
is the only one that stands out to me at the minute.
They're not bad, but they're not good enough to jump. I think if there is one that's good enough to jump, it's what you call him, Irish lad in the middle. He's consistently getting points per game, 14 or 15. Yeah, that's the one. Thanks. Josh Cullen, and obviously Jayden Anthony, we've talked about a lot because he's out of position and all attacking moves are going through him. But beyond that, it's Cullen.
And that's against
nothing really else jumping out.
I was literally talking to a Wolves fan last week, and they've already basically accepted relegation this year. So, oh no, we were right last year that this was the year they were going to go down. Sorry, I don't care. Everton, Spurs.
Interesting. Everton are on the form of they haven't looked this good for this long early in the season, and as long as I can remember. Spurs are strong but moving backwards.
Spurs have wobbled in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I think.
They have. They wobbled from third down to sixth. Little bit too much drawing and not enough winning. Basically, is their problem at the moment. I can't call this one because Everton are on such good form, but
it's not Everton, isn't it? It's not
at least they'll have Grealish again this week since he couldn't play last week against City.
Yeah,
he got a nice little rest for himself, so maybe he might turn up and do something.
Yeah, I think that's an Everton win. I think that's a narrow Everton win.
Really?
I'm going to say the assets haven't changed in the middle. If his surname starts with a G, that's who you go for. Or our Lord and Master, James Tarkowski, always. So Garner,
I think in this kind of game, I'm looking at the way Spurs are playing. I think Tarkers is probably a nice show for this weekend, as is Grealish. On the Spurs side, they just seem to not be able to find... It's Kudus, and that's about it. Their midfield is lovely and stodgy with Bentancur and Palhinha, which means nothing comes through the middle, both attacking and defensively. It's nice to see, but from an attacking makeup standpoint, Spurs haven't figured it out. You're seeing Xavi Simons, you're seeing Matthias Tell, you're seeing Richarlison. It's a case of Kudus and who are the two others.
So if you want, again, like we talk a lot about defenders around here. If you want fantasy assets right now, you've got your Arsenal backs, you've got your Palace backs, but actually the Spurs backs are really performing. Porro, Romero, and Van de Ven are all 13 plus per week. Porro's actually reached 17 a week now, which is a fucking top 5 scorer. Like, they're good at the back, and then below that it's Palhinha, who's obviously a defensive midfielder, and then it's their goalie. So don't be expected. The numbers are back in what you're saying is what I'm getting at here, John. Out front, they're kind of lost at sea. At the back, though, there's goal to be had there.
Out front, they're rotating. I don't think they've figured out is it Brennan Johnson, Kudus, Tell? Is it Richarlison and Colin Mawani? Is it Xavi Simons and making it a 4-2-3-1? I don't think, Gary, you're not in shaking. Tell me what.
No, I'm in agreement with you. No, I'm in full agreement with you. I think, Jimmy, you hit the nail on the head. There's gold at the back, and up front they haven't figured it out. If and when Solanke comes back, I don't know when he's due to be back or what his situation is. That just becomes more confusing for Spurs up front. So yeah, that's I'm actually, for the third time this week, John, I'm agreeing with you.
I need to go see it. I need to go see a doctor, or you do. One of the two of us do.
Probably me.
But yeah, no, like I think Colin Mawani was one of the worst. Like I saw this report there last week that said Sesko was the worst signing in the Premier League this summer. Like this is from the agents, not fans. So normally these fan ones are hijacked by Liverpool and Arsenal fans who love to have a poke at United. But this is from agents. Colin Mawani, he's done nothing. Matthias Tell has done nothing. Kudus has been good. Xavi Simons has passed maybe one ball match nicely around the corner, and everybody goes, "Ooh, that's nice," and then proceeds to do nothing. Richarlison has done what Richarlison has done for the last 4 years, and guess what that is? Oh, nothing. Are we seeing a trend here? They're all bang average, same profile of the same shit, of inconsistent, and Solanke is another one. Like Iriola made him look like a world beater and got a fortune from him. Personally drove him to White Hart Lane and deal with him.
I mean, Tell, Odebert, where are the great Spurs forwards? Yeah. Like, there's a reason you forgot about him. There is genuinely a reason you forgot about him. He's not doing anything. And I'm not sure really how Spurs had such a good start to the season as they did with such lackluster firepower. It seems to be all Kudus and Porro.
So those are the assets picking that game. Over the other side, it's Tarkowski and Grealish. So the other three games are Arsenal Palace, Villa City, and Bournemouth Forest. Pick a poison there, boys.
I mean, Villa
City. Palace will be a good.
Arsenal Palace will be killer.
Well.
I think that's the game of the weekend.
Yeah, I think so as well.
That's 3 weeks in a row where I'm saying the Palace game. Is it a Palace thing? Because that's 3 weekends in a row I'm saying Palace versus their opponent.
Palace are just great to watch, though, to be fair. Palace are just fantastic.
They're having a moment
to watch right now. They really, really are. I think this game this weekend for Arsenal is big in relation to title aspirations. these are the games that you'd expect them to win, particularly at home. But from a fantasy perspective, Mateta. I think he'll cause trouble for them
against the best, arguably the best defense in Europe. Do you think?
I just think he'll cause trouble.
He'll definitely cause trouble.
No.
He'll definitely cause trouble.
And I think he'll score points.
Dean's point, I think, outweighs the hassle that they're not going to have a comfortable game, but as Dean said, they're probably the best defense in Europe. He'll bother them, but he won't break them.
Yeah, I think
both squads are the squads we've been screaming about all year as being the best defensive squads, fantasy-wise, right? They can't both come out of this on top. And Palace, whatever else you want to say about last weekend's game, they let in 3. Now, Mateta scored 3, sure. But up until that point, he's only 11 a week. And he was playing against Bournemouth. And Bournemouth are not defensively super tight. I don't think he's as dangerous against Arsenal as he is against lower-ranked teams. I think he seems to do very, very well against lower-ranked teams than bigger ones. I think Arsenal have this one.
Arsenal have only conceded 3 goals this season so far. Like, that is fucking something.
It's phenomenal. They're like outside of... Okay, they played City and they conceded. They played Liverpool and lost. Outside of that, most of the games, as far as I know, have been in bottom half. I mean, you would expect them to keep clean sheets. I'd be interested. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think they've come up against an in-form, fully firing striker. Haaland wasn't in form when City played Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that Mateta is hot right now. He's very, very confident.
All right, Hans. He's so hot right now. Zoolander, yeah.
He's so hot.
Do you know who's not worth picking, though? And I'm just going to have a little round. Do you know who's not worth picking?
Oh, God,
and Dean, you're just going to get used to hearing that.
I was going to ask anyway.
Do not pick Gyökeres. Literally, I ran the numbers and I threw him into the group, right? And everybody's like, "Oh, he scored so many goals. Yeah, okay. Let me ask you this, right? There's 3 good teams in Portugal outside of Sporting. They are Braga, they are Porto, they are Benfica. He played 8 games against them last season. How many goals did he score in open play in all those games? In open play? None.
0.
3 penalties. Or 2 penalties and a free kick.
Arsenal don't do open play. It's all set pieces.
Yeah, but he also doesn't take the penalties there. A third of his goals last season were penalties. He doesn't take the penalties there. Now, if you take away his penalty goals, that's a little it's a little shine off his numbers. It's a lot of shine off his numbers if you take away the penalties. But where he bagged was he scored 4 against Rio Ave. He scored 6 in 2 games against Firenze. He scored 8 in 3 games against Rio Ave Tende. These teams that the 3 teams who got relegated. You know, the 3 bottom teams in the Portuguese league. He stacked 15 of his 40 goals on against those 3 teams alone. Against the 3 good teams in 8 games in league and cup, he scored 0 from open play. This continues the point I've been saying for the last few weeks of he's a good striker and he scores goals. But he will do what Lukaku did at United and will not score against the top 4 or 5 teams, but he'll end up with 5 goals in 2 games against Wolves. He'll score 4 in 2 games against Burnley, and that's 9 of his 15 Premier League goals across 4 of those games. Do you know what I mean? From a fantasy football perspective, find those games and pick them up then and there, but as a long-term asset, go nowhere near him. Like, maybe that's the difference of what they need to win those little games, Arsenal. But if you're looking at like, he scored 3 goals this season. 1 was a penalty. It was 2 against Leeds, 1 against Forest. And one of those 3 was a penalty because Saka and Odegaard were both off the pitch there. So when you're looking at that, like, you're looking at Mateta, who's scoring from open play. You're looking at Gyökeres, who is a set-piece merchant and yet to get on. Like, it's not that he's a bad player. He will score goals. In 2 or 3 years' time when he leaves Arsenal, his numbers will be very similar to Lukaku. If you look at Lukaku's numbers at United, it's like, oh, shit. That's quite good. But he never scored against Chelsea. He never scored against Liverpool. Never scored against Arsenal. And never scored against City in that time frame. Scored 5 against West Brom in a season, though.
Are we saying Palace beat Arsenal?
No, I think Arsenal are too good, though, across the board.
High-scoring draw, then.
I'd call a draw.
I'm going to say, fuck it, balls out. I'm going to say 2-1 Palace.
1-0.
Did Odegaard play last week?
He's injured again.
He's in and out, but
he's back yet?
He's injured again.
He's out.
Oh, again. Oh,
He's injured again.
Yeah.
That's 3 games in a row that he played that he got subbed off in the first half with injury. It's 1-0 to the Arsenal. It's back to the George Graham mid-90s saying 1-0 to the Arsenal. Two very strong defensive teams that are going to match each other up in terms of set piece. And when it's going to be 1-0 Arsenal, and pick whichever Arsenal defender scores the goal. Hi, welcome to every other game this season for Arsenal.
Okay. Yeah,
So who's right? Let's call it as the clock chases us. Call it. Who's your one player for that game to pick up next week?
Arsenal Palace.
One player to
Arsenal
pick
Palace.
Saliba.
Potato. I think
Saliba.
I think Saka. I think Saka. I think Palace might concede a penalty. And Saka
Actually, sorry, let me change my answer. Eze against his old club to break their hearts.
Nunes.
Maybe.
Last game to look at, and we'll just burn through this quickly before we bounce. Villa City. Pick
Villa will
Haaland,
be
and we move on, do we?
Villa will be energized by the win over Spurs, but I still just don't see who's the player to take. I guess it's Rodgers by default, but I don't want to be that recency bias who scored the last goal guy. He does seem to be the most consistent they have. And at City, I don't know. Do they have some sort of striker? Big guy?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Did Rodri actually? Is he in trouble again?
Yeah.
No, Nico Gonzalez is playing that number 6 role, and I don't know what the numbers are saying, Jimmy, but from a visual perspective, he seems to be holding his own. But I don't think from a fantasy perspective, he's an asset.
No, it's Haaland.
I don't think there is
Guardiola,
Haaland, is there?
Haaland, Guardiola, Foden, Reinders are your big four there. Now, to be fair, Diaz and Gonzalez are over 10 a week each, but really, like, Haaland is the top scoring player for the year. We all know this. Reinders is the only other one over 100, and then it takes a dip to 79 for the season because he was away for a while, but Phil Foden is doing things when he's there. Gonzalez at 10, Guardiola at 16, but not much appearance. It's Pep ball. It's fucking constant rotation for everyone except Haaland and Reinders.
Yeah.
So
possibly going to run it though.
I think that's a great place to kind of wrap the football talk. What's the most obvious pick in football right now? Haaland. Okay,
Haaland.
Jimmy, give us our little app update, and I'm going to bed because I have lemon-sipped myself to the gills to get through this hour.
Yes, the testing of the app is ongoing, laborious, and we just don't sleep anymore. I'm currently in 14 different leagues. All of which were automatically generated for testing purposes, all of which are better than any team I would ever pick myself because I'm a ham. But yes, the app is on the way. Construction is ongoing. You will want to be going to StatrCast.com to get your name out of the waiting list so we can get you those invites when we're ready to drop it real soon, we hope. But between here and there, keep watching the skis.
Cool. Boys,
right.
Are we back being friends? We're all
Love you, Dino.
We're all
It depends on if Brighton beat you.